Hey guys, I hope everybody is well today. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use some glitter mixes like this one right here. This one is from Millie and Will. It's called The Girl Next Door, and that's the one we're going to be working with today. We all like to swap glitter mixes, but not everybody uses acrylic. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the glitter mixes on UV gel. And I hope that this helps some of the ladies who just use gels and really aren't sure how to go about using the mixes. This is how I like to do it. It may not be the correct way for everybody, but this is the easiest way for me to do it. I have a couple of clients that I do UV gels on, and they love the glitter mixes. So we're going to put one on this nail right here on Henrietta, and I'm going to get started. First things that you need, of course, are your prepped nail. I just added a tip to her fingernail here so that I have something to work with. I really didn't feel like putting it on a form. You know, this is just to show you how to use the glitter mixes. Bonder, of course, you would put bonder, cure it, and then you'd use your first layer of clear. This is my clear right here. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There we go. IBD clear gel. Now this is a messy bottle. I don't use this on my clients. This is just my play bottle. Since I'm using it on Henrietta, that's what I'm going to be using. So you need a flat brush. Okay, it's long and flat and square. And I like, let me see if I can get this correctly. Sorry guys, camera angle is always an issue for me. So you're going to pick up some of your gel, right? A bead of your gel. If I can move the other stuff out of my way. You just basically roll it back and forth until it stops stringing. Once you have the bead on your thing, it's a builder gel. So it's going to take time to settle. So you have kind of a limited amount of time, but you also have a little bit of time. So I like to put a thin coat so that it bridges the gap between the natural nail and the tip. And what I do is I just fan that out all the way down to the tip of the nail. Usually I wouldn't leave a nail this long, but I thought it would be cute if we did. This way we have more room to show you what to do with to play with the mix. Now this is all self-leveling. It's going to level out all by itself. And you're going to want to make these coats as thin as you possibly can and as close to the cuticle as you can without touching. It's basically like nail polishing a nail, but you want to make sure that you get everywhere and then you give it a second or two to settle. Now what's going to happen is you're going to see it's sort of coming off the edges here a little bit. All right, and if you have bubbles, just touch where the bubbles are and draw down and they'll come out. Okay, now what I have here, right here, is actually a alcohol saturated pad. All right, and that's what I use to clean my brush with. Alcohol cleans away the UV gel because it's very, very, very sticky. And then you can go ahead and take your brush and clean up any edges that you need to clean up. And also check to make sure that you got every edge that you wanted to get. Like if you see spaces, you're going to want to go in there with your brush and make sure to move the gel over to there. And then give it another second or two to level. Okay, so I think that I got it everywhere on my nail that I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cure this for 2 minutes and I will be right back. Okay guys, we're back. So I've cured this now for 2 minutes, and those of you who do gels know that there is a layer on top of this UV gel. It's called an inhibition layer. The inhibition layer is the residue that actually comes to the top as the UV gel is curing. The acrylic in the UV gel, because it's all acrylics actually. You know, I know that we call polymers and monomers acrylics, but this is a UV gel is also an acrylic. It's also an acrylic. So, but as it cures, the light actually solidifies and hardens the gel and the, you know, the particles underneath, pushing that sticky layer up to the top, okay? Now, we're going to leave that sticky coat because it's going to help us with our second coat. Just as you would with another clear coat, you're going to leave it when you're using a mix as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my brush, and don't be afraid to get your brush dirty. You can actually clean it right on the tissue here, even with the mix and everything else. So I'm going to take my mix, my glitter mix, and I'm going to dip my brush in there, and some of it is going to stick to it, see? And I'm just going to kind of pat it wherever I want my glitter mix to be. You know, don't be afraid to get in there and pat it wherever you want that mix to end up. Just like with acrylics, you want to make sure it flattens enough, you know. Make sure you flatten it enough because you don't want thick-ass nails, you know. And I'm just going to keep patting it on. I love this mix. I love the colors in this mix. The iridescents and the purples. So thank you, Millie and Will. I think I got it in a swap. Very cool. Okay. So I've kind of gotten it where I want it to be. Okay. It's all up and down that nail. You can see. Now you're like, all right, what do I do with this junk that's on my brush? Well, or sorry, gas. If I said junk, it's glitter. You're just going to wipe your brush back and forth on your saturated napkin. And look, clean brush, nothing on it. Then you're going to go back into your UV gel. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. You want to scoop up a bead, just like you would for your second coat. Because whenever you do UV gels, you do 2 coats, right? You do your primer coat and or your bonder rather, you cure it. Then you do your first coat, right? And then you do your second coat. Second coat, we're going to do the same exact thing as we did with the first. I'm going to work in small circles because I'm floating it. Now, I'm not going to press as hard as I did with the first coat because I kind of want to float it over that glitter mix and let it settle. Okay? You may get some pieces of glitter on your brush. Don't worry about it. It's not a huge deal. Clean your brush. Again, go in for some more gel. Maybe a medium size to large size bead again, depending on how long your nails are. I'm going to lay it on there and I'm going to float it down the nail. You're basically running stripes and squares. Stripes and squares. So up and down, back and forth. Okay? And as you get to the edge, you really want to touch those corners here to seal them. You want to touch those edges and let it settle. Okay? I'm not sure if you guys can see that, how it's settling on that nail. But it's really, really laying nice. And as I get to the bottom, I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to drag it down and across the tip. And you want to seal that tip. So you make sure you want to run it across the edge of that tip. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to clean our brush and we're going to let that set for a minute or two. And what you can do is you can actually tilt your hand to help it settle one way or the other. You can run your brush up along the edge like this because I kind of got a little much on the edge there. And you can kind of just swipe at it, removing any excess. Okay, guys? And don't worry if this is lumpy. Really, it's not a huge deal. The best thing about UV gels is that you can file them and they still shine like there's no tomorrow. I'll show you. Okay? So I'm just going to run down this edge to make sure that I've gotten the gel all the way down over the edges here. Okay? And I'm going to check my cuticle always go back and check your cuticle. If your cuticle has gel on it, you are going to have lifting like no tomorrow. I mean, by morning, they'll be popping off. So make sure that your gel is not on your cuticle. Clean up your brush each and every time on the towel. You can add more. Like, I feel like my towel is getting a little dry. I'm going to take my little spritzer. You're going to move your gel because you do not want this near the light when it's curing. You should always cover over your gel. Put the cover back on it and move it to a safe place away from the light. I'm going to resaturate my towel here. It's just alcohol. It's just a bottle of alcohol, okay? And as that is settling, I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to look down the barrel of the nail again, just straight up this way so that you can see how thick it is. Okay? My nail looks good. Back in the lamp we go for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.